Today on The Ascent Health, I'm joined by Justin Penny from Gameday Men's Health. While Gameday is known for helping men optimize their hormones, women also come through the doors, and for good reason. In this conversation, we talk about how men's hormones and health affects relationships and energy at home. We also dive into cutting-edge peptide therapies available at Gameday that aren't just for men. If you want the men in your life to feel their best so that they can be their best, or if you've ever been curious about what peptide therapy is, how it works, or why people are seeking it out, this episode will give you a clear, practical look at what's out there. Let's get into it. Hi, everyone. Welcome to On The Ascent with Gameday Health with Justin Penny. Justin, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got here, what you're doing?
Yeah, my name is Justin Penny. Lived in Alaska since 2009. Love it here. Family cabin. We're in the community. So Gameday Men's Health. Let me back up a little bit. I was a commercial banker for 17 years across the street. On one hand, like a big departure. On the other hand, coming from finance into medicine, both very personalized, guarded conversations. A lot of
That
like
makes
maybe
sense.
pride and ego involved in some.
Yeah.
Also very heavily regulated industries.
Mhm.
Also where safety and integrity are paramount. So there are a lot of through lines that carry over from one to the other. But I'd had enough of corporate bureaucratic life and wanted to build something for me and my family. The concept of Gameday was something I was looking for as a patient and couldn't find in Anchorage. And I was like, well, if I'm looking for this, there's probably other guys in the
Looking for
same
it. Yeah.
position. And so Gameday is a concierge men's health clinic. We're in Midtown. Famously, men hate going to the doctor.
Right.
And so we try to make it as comfortable as possible and as convenient as possible. So it's some place they want to go. So instead of being in creepy, sterile, four white clinical walls, it's in a modern man cave environment. We have
It
ESPN
looks like a
on the
sports
wall.
bar. I think he serves beer,
No, can't quite do
whiskey.
that. Yeah,
Nope,
right?
none of that. Okay.
Maybe that's coming next, cigar lounge or something.
Yeah.
No, but so it's comfortable. It's fun. There's laughter. Like we have a good time. There's always music going, and then convenient. So we have a blood lab in the clinic, and we can turn results in 20 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so guys come in. Initial consultation takes about an hour. You do a blood draw. 20 minutes later, those results are ready, and then we can sit down with our provider, review those results, and put together a personalized treatment plan, and you're off to the races.
Cool. And so why did you want to start it? You said you were looking for something like it. What kind of got you into it?
I like the evolutionary nature of that. For instance, with hormonal treatments and peptides, I'm always learning something new, especially on the peptide front. There's always new use cases, and the fact that it's this good blend of like bro science and like traditional medical science,
Yeah.
and to where to have a foot kind of in both worlds, and that we have like Dr. Kevin Paisley's our medical director, shoulder surgeon, brilliant guy, a humble guy, and nurse practitioners and RNs and MAs on staff of like a traditional trappings of a medical practice, but then also working with men on the forefront, and trainers and bodybuilders and performance athletes, and so I'm always learning. It's great. I love it.
Do you think it makes it easier for men that like, are they doing the consultations like with you or someone else? They're not actually like having to go see a doctor?
So I don't do any of the consultations.
You don't? Okay.
I joke that I do everything here except for practice medicine,
Yeah.
but I kind of, not officially. But so everyone that calls in, if you call or text, like I'm the guy that you talk to. So I talk to every person before they come in the door. So hear a lot of stories and make some non-medical professional suggestions or advice, or like share my story. I'm like very much an open book as to how I got here and what has worked for me and things I've tried that don't work, and how there's the very human nature to medicine, right? There's like the ideal from a physiological perspective, but then what kind of treatments are people actually going to do and maintain and adhere to for the long term?
Got it. Cool. So let's talk about some of the major treatments. So I think we'll probably have a predominantly female audience listening to this, right? We know that females tend to pay more attention to their health.
Yeah.
They tend to be the health drivers of the family. So some of this might not apply to you as a female particularly, but let's say you have a significant other who is male. This could relate to them, and this might be something that you want to steer them towards. And in a little bit, we'll talk about some of the things that maybe women sneak into a Gameday Men's Health for.
Yes,
well.
absolutely.
So.
Not, I mean, directly with women's health, but it absolutely has an incredible effect on families and on communities. And we like to say that we're here to make men better, better husbands, better fathers, and better leaders. And so we specialize in 4 things: testosterone replacement therapy, erectile performance, peptides, and medical weight loss. And so
Okay.
a lot of what we do is TRT, or testosterone replacement therapy, or hormone replacement therapy. We hear it called a few different things. And so if the men in your life are sluggish, low drive, low energy, low libido, difficulty maintaining muscle mass, maybe just moody, then it very well could be a hormonal issue. So I started by saying that we work with a lot of performance athletes and first responders, and we do. Our average patient,
Yeah.
50 years old, diesel mechanic, 2 kids, maybe 25 to 50 pounds overweight, just
Just a
dad
lot.
in the
Yeah.
cul-de-sac. And he is, we were talking before of this podcast being On The Ascent, and how men, as they age, are slowing down, and they're like, oh, well, it's just part of getting older. Like, this is
Right.
just how I have to feel now. I guess this is what I have to accept it. And it's oftentimes, it's not just getting older. It's that your hormones are a mess for various reasons. And so come in, let us do some free blood work.
What does
talk
the
through
free
things.
blood work entail?
So in-house, we measure total testosterone, prostate-specific antigen, and your hematocrit and hemoglobin. So total testosterone, pretty obvious if that's a key marker of where you are versus where we'd like you to be. For prostate-specific antigen is a kind of early red flag of potential prostate cancer. And so if you're out of range there, then it's like an immediate referral to urology, like go get that checked out
Yeah.
before we do anything else. And then so we've caught some prostate cancer early for guys, which is,
That's cool.
yes, scary for them, but also great to catch it early,
Right.
because some guys come to us and like, I haven't been to a doctor in 20 years. And then you're like, okay, like,
Yeah.
let's get things squared away from a primary care perspective, and then come back and let's talk about your hormones. And then hematocrit and hemoglobin, basically just how viscous or thick or thin your blood is, to make sure that we're doing things safely. Those are our initial hard bounds. And then if you become a member with us, then we send out for a full comprehensive panel of a litany of markers.
Got it. Okay. And so if they're becoming to get any treatment, they'll end up with more
Yes. Yeah.
as well. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So we do blood work 4 to 5 times in the first year to make sure that we are, philosophically, we start on the low side with guys for any treatment, and then slowly titrate our way upwards to make
Yeah.
sure that we're minimizing side effects, and that we want to get guys optimized as quickly as possible, but as safely as possible.
Okay. So let's talk about, are you treating, is it only men with like clinically low levels or moderate, high, like where does treatment come in, and tell me about the different types?
Yeah. So the reason, if the American medical system worked well, we wouldn't need to exist,
Right.
frankly. But there's a large hole that is not being met by traditional medical practices. So rough numbers, normal quote unquote testosterone is 300 to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter.
Okay.
Very wide range, not adjusted for age, whether you're 18 or whether you're 80, or lifestyle, or taking into account any symptoms. And so oftentimes guys will go to a primary care provider and they'll say, like, I want to get my testosterone tested. Sometimes the doc goes, you have a beard, you're only 40, like, don't worry about it. And they won't even run a test.
Yeah.
If they do, maybe it comes back at like 350 or 400, and they're like, well, you're within range, like nothing we can do. And they're like, well, I'm like tired all the time, like I have no libido and I can't build any muscle. And they're like, well, you're within range, so there's nothing we can do.
Got it.
Even if they do want to treat, then the next thing is insurance companies oftentimes will say, nope, you're within range, so we're not
Right.
going to pay for it. We get those guys all day, every day, where they come
Yeah.
to us, they have the symptoms. You can dig a little deeper. What is your free testosterone? And we can talk
Right.
through
So
more.
you check thyroid as
We
well,
can
I
talk-
guess.
Sometimes, yeah, we try to stay, it's a different conversation.
Right. I just think some of those symptoms are
Yes.
thyroid
Yeah,
as well.
Yep.
So
We try to stay intentionally narrow in what we do.
yeah.
So we help guys that we treat not just a number. It's symptoms, and it's multiple blood markers, and over time, and being a direct pay, like a cash pay clinic, that we can provide modern personalized medicine without a third party telling you what you can or cannot do.
Yeah.
Like, you're a grown man. You can make your own decisions if it's medically appropriate.
That's fair.
Like, yeah.
So what are the different types that you have, or a couple of them? Because there's different ones that are you injected? How do you use the phrase? Are you injecting them, pumping them into people? What do we call it?
So 99% of guys are on injections of
Okay.
testosterone cypionate. And that's the gold standard, most common, used in America. Those injections are either once or twice a week, typically. Old school, poor practice, you'll hear people like once every other week,
Okay.
which is not a good way to administer. Sometimes insurance companies will only let doctors prescribe that way.
Okay.
The half-life of testosterone cypionate's about 8 days. And so if you're
So you're
injecting,
going up and down, and
it's
that's
awful.
going to be great fun.
So like
Yeah.
what I mentioned earlier of like physiologically ideal versus long-term adherence, theoretically daily injections would be ideal.
Right.
Most people
Okay.
don't want to be a pincushion.
Yeah.
And so once or twice a week is the best blend of benefits with the
Okay.
fewest amount of injections.
Yeah.
So that's the vast majority of guys. And we have other ancillary compounds like gonadorelin or HCG that are used to maintain fertility or to prevent testicular atrophy. And so again, that's
let's talk about some of these side effects. These are some of the side effects that can happen with treatment and why you have to be careful.
Yep. So men, if they're starting on a testosterone therapy program, it's because they're hypogonadal or their body's not producing enough testosterone.
Right.
And you'll hear like, oh, you have to be on it forever. And it's not like you don't have to be on it forever. It is true that your body stops producing testosterone when you're injecting exogenous testosterone into you. So your body stops producing it. That said, if you were to stop injecting it, your body goes back to producing it again.
Yeah.
But it's going to be back at the low levels you were at before. And you're going to feel all the symptoms that you had that you came in here to get addressed. And so it's not that something you have to be on forever. Infertility is a conversation we have with everybody, because if you're not producing that, you're not producing any sperm generally. And these are broad categorizations. There's exceptions to the rule in there, whatever. But in general, your body stops producing sperm. And so in general, you're going to have a tough time conceiving if you're on just testosterone. However, I have one kid, one coming in any day now.
Yeah, any day now.
And want to have a couple more.
Yeah.
And so you can take a compound like HCG or human chorionic gonadotropin to basically tell your body to continue producing its own natural testosterone and maintain fertility, either while you're on TRT. Some guys might have to cycle off testosterone cypionate and maybe take a different compound like enclomiphene. I don't want to get too far in the weeds. So we're going to lose some people. But
yeah. So there's options.
All that to
there's
say,
options if you still want to have kids, basically.
Yes, either while you're on it or coming off of it. And we can design treatment plans for every individual. I mentioned testicular atrophy. So again, if your body's not producing testosterone in the testicles, then to shrink 20 to 30%. For some guys, it's not an issue. For some guys, it's a vanity thing. So that's, again, So
it's only the testicles that are shrinking.
Yep.
Okay. And they care that much about that.
Some guys do.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Obviously, people are doing it for a reason. What are some of like the benefits and some of the surprising things that like people find?
Most people think of testosterone, they think of it being a sex hormone, and they think of muscle. Yeah. And those are two great benefits for sure. Increased libido and ability to build muscle mass. I think we'll hit it on of how it's not a magic bullet. It's not going to build muscle on its own. That said, I think the biggest surprising one is the mental benefits. So brain fog going away. It tends to make hard work enjoyable. And so things that you've been like maybe putting off some like yard project or like an uncomfortable conversation at work or something, suddenly those aren't daunting things that you push aside anymore, and you just start getting stuff done. And you're like this is
interesting.
This is great. And this is different. And that plays into the muscle building as well to where went from enclomiphene to going on testosterone cypionate and HCG. Day 1, libido increased. Day 30 to 45, I noticed like my workouts being significantly more easier, recovering faster, and stacking weight faster with better form than I ever had. Yeah. And my diet, my exercise regimen and frequency, everything else totally constant and unchanged. And then by day 90, I remember 3 times in one day, I had people go, "You look good. You've been working out. Like, what's going on?"
You're like, "I'll take it."
Right. Yeah. And everything else totally constant for like 2 years. I mean, then things had fluctuated from there. So it wasn't like I just started working out 2 years prior or whatever. Right. But like same push-pull legs workout in my basement, same days a week, same diet, everything. And then all of a sudden you get your hormones right and you become more effective in the gym. And so you see more results, and so you're more likely to go back and do more, and so it becomes this virtuous cycle. And you see that not just in the gym, but in all aspects of your life. So to the women out there, you'll also we joke in the clinic of warn your wives of that you're gonna be a little
Yeah.
more eager beaver, you're gonna be a more present father, and
Do you know, like as a father, like does testosterone affect like men's brain and bonding? Is that why, or why do you think it would?
you're just more present. You have more energy. So if
Okay.
you're that diesel mechanic and you've had a long day, or if you're a shift worker and you get home
Hmm.
and you're typically just wore out and you're beat and you don't have time or you don't have the energy to be
Yeah.
present with your kids and you just want to go put on a football game or like doom scroll on your
Right.
phone for a couple hours. Now you have that energy again. And so you can go ride bikes, go play catch with your son in the yard,
Yeah.
go push him on a swing set, do whatever. And so you're
Right.
more present throughout the evenings with your family, and then you can make better decisions and again be a better leader of community.
Good. So what else? Yeah, we talked about like what else goes along with it. This isn't the magic bullet. Listen, it makes things better, but what else do you need to be doing while you're on these?
All the things, right?
What are some of all of the things that like you don't do? You give people like a good lesson in this while they're
Yes, yeah.
getting the injections?
It's sleep, diet, exercise, community, and mission. Those are my 5 pillars that I try to focus on secularly in my life. Sleep, diet, and exercise. Everybody knows there's ad nauseum, whatever.
Do you like specific types of exercise? Do you steer them towards some kind of like weightlifting or resistance training versus like walking, hiking?
Generally, I think strength training is important for everyone, men and women, but it depends on where they are and what their goals are. And so we'll meet people where they are at that station. So whether you're 300 pounds and you're trying to drop 100 pounds, whether you're already pretty fit and trying to make tweaks around the edges, there's different protocols and different suggestions for each individual, and what works for one person doesn't work for the other. Similar for nutrition. Every body is different. Yeah. So there's not any one particular thing. Again, I'm always an open book and share what works for me, and happy to always learning tips and tricks and things from other people, and also to partner with folks like yourself to where we don't have chiropractors or do any kind of sports physio or physical therapy stuff, but there's great people in the community like yourself that do. And so, as we talk to guys, if they have a nagging injury or something of hey, we have some things we can do to help here, but there's a lot of other
peptides,
stuff.
do that too.
Yes, let's chat peptides. But again, those aren't a magic bullet. And they're even less
to
of
go
a magic
along
bullet.
with that. Yeah, they need to go along with.
Yeah, to where I like to say peptides are if you're already doing 90% of the things and you want to just tweak that last kind of 10%, that's where peptides come in. So if you're metabolically a mess, jumping on some peptides short of a GLP-1 like semaglutide or tirzepatide, the weight loss drugs, short of those, it's not the best place to start and likely probably a waste of your money. But if you're already someone who is getting consistent sleep, who is eating reasonably well and working out regularly, then absolutely they can help get you to the kind of the next level. Maybe that's a good segue of where for your listeners directly anyway. So we talked about their husbands or their brothers or their sons, whereas we do treat women for medical weight loss and for peptides.
Okay. So women can come in here.
Yes, on their own with their husbands.
Yeah.
There's no wine for us either, right?
No, there's not.
Yep.
Nope. No, we do have gals that come in with their husbands to talk about their husband's health, and then oftentimes end up becoming patients as well.
They're like, hey, let me get some of this.
Yes. This, I see what it does for my husband. This looks really great. I want to try this out. We love that. We get gals that come in on their own for both peptides and weight loss stuff, but we don't do any hormones for women. So no female hormones, no transitions. We just make men more men. And then obviously the erectile performance stuff doesn't directly apply to women. So
let's talk a little bit about it because that might apply to women's relationships. So what do you have for erectile dysfunction? You have some fun machine.
We do.
EPAT. Tell me what that stands for. I know it's similar to a shock wave. And
basically same machine that you guys have, just used in a different.
I think it's radial.
Ours
therapy.
is a radial.
Okay. Ours is focused, so it's a different wave.
Yes. Yeah. Similar technology without going way into the weeds. We might end up getting a.
What does EPAT stand for?
So extracorporeal. You put me on the spot.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Well, I was going to go into a couple different things.
Yeah, go ahead.
From a bigger picture of something like 90% of ED is either endocrine based or vascular. So either hormones or blood flow. And so those are two big places to look. The other side of it's psychological. There's less directly that we can do here, but then the hormones play into that. And
so if it's hormonal, then testosterone therapy more, and vascular, then you'd go towards the EPAT more?
Yes, that and or things like a daily low dose tadalafil, which I love. It's one of my favorite things. So Cialis. So tadalafil.
Okay.
Yes. So people think of, so there's Viagra or sildenafil
Right.
and then Cialis or tadalafil. Tadalafil was initially developed as a blood pressure medication.
Okay.
So it's a vasodilator. Think of it as making your veins and arteries bigger and more flexible.
Yeah.
Originally, guys would take 20, 25 milligrams on a Friday night, date night, go out with the wife, have a good time. But if you take that repeatedly, you have headaches and other side effects at that dosage. However, studies have shown that if you take like 1/10 of that dose, so like 2.5,
microdosing it.
yes, like 2.5 or 5 milligrams every day, you get almost all the benefits with none of the side effects.
Got it.
And then there's some early studies showing it's actually like protective of atherosclerosis and cardiovascular disease. And so it's
clear out some of the mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great pumps in the gym.
Right.
Better, stronger erections.
Yeah.
It's great. And it's not one of those things like, oh, maybe it's doing something or not. Like you'll know within like a day whether it's something that you like and want to do.
Yeah. Is that something you guys do here as well? Oh.
So that's a great first place to start.
Yeah.
Even not, I also like to think of erectile performance as being on a spectrum. Like we're not just going from like bad to good, but also from good to great for all of the treatments that we offer. So even if you don't have to be like, I haven't had an erection in 10 years, there's always something we can do to help get you to the next kind of level up, if you will. So that's a great place to start. So yeah, do some blood work, talk through symptoms, get your hormones balanced, blood flow, whether it's from a pharmacological perspective and or again, sleep, diet, exercise, all the things, quote unquote. And then maybe there are some either blockages or things that just aren't flowing as well in that region.
Yeah.
And so then we use a shockwave machine, clear up any kind of calcification in veins and arteries and promote the body's stem cells to respond in that area and promote new growth of blood vessels. And a couple good story. One of our patients,
so shockwave looks a little bit like an ultrasound, like a big ultrasound. Similar waves, like I think these ones are radial pressure waves, but they're big like waves going in, kind of giving cells a big squish, which starts this mechanotransduction that like starts all of these processes that can help clear out, build more, just do angiogenesis, building of new blood vessels, so it helps with more blood flow to the area as well. So
a couple funny stories of patients and the results that they've seen of one guy so generally it's about 6 sessions. They take 20 to 30 minutes each time.
Okay, so how many pulses is it? This is a lot.
It's going to be 12,000 pulses, right? It's 2,000 pulses, and then we do 6 different regions, 3 kind of regions on each side.
Does it hurt? Because our focused shockwave hurts a little bit.
Right. So we do apply like a topical numbing agent, but there's not any like recovery time. Like you can go home and make love with your wife that afternoon or evening, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't say it hurts, but it's also not like comfortable per se.
They're not squealing in there while you.
There's no like lidocaine injections or anything like that. Easy and simple treatment. But we had one patient who, after I think it was like his third or fourth, came back and he was like beaming the next time he came in, and he's like, my girlfriend and I were having so much fun. I actually broke a rib 2 nights ago, and he was like pumped. He was like, "This is awesome! Like I haven't had this much fun in forever."
Yeah.
And the next week he came back and he's like, "Guess what? My girlfriend like threw her shoulder out," and I was like, "Yes."
Like,
I love that you got like that, like, and so to go from like being nervous, like, am I going to be able to have an erection? Like, what's going to happen, and being all in your head about it and not being able to enjoy it. But like acrobatically breaking bones and stuff, whatever. But like that's a big jump. And so then you think of the downstream relationship effects and personal satisfaction and self-worth and everything else that can be tied up in these issues. And it's huge. And we love one thing that's been really fun coming from finance into medicine is helping people and their stories and being part of everyone's, kind of personal health journey.
Yeah, you probably heard some really fun things.
Yes. Yeah. And all this stuff is, it's a journey. We always say for testosterone, like give us 90 days. Like it's like you're not going to wake up tomorrow and feel like Superman. Like it's going to be a steady climb up the mountain, but we're here to do it together.
The shockwave does work a little quicker. How?
Yes. Yeah. So generally,
And I was gonna say that's one there, at least for ours, probably for yours, there's
Yeah.
little to no side effects.
Right.
Like there's no reason. I mean, if you have something that it's gonna help, there's no reason
Yes.
not to. There's none of these like medical side effects.
Yep. And from a safety perspective, it's a class 1 FDA medical device, so which is the same as like an electric toothbrush from a safety perspective. So you can, it's not, no side effects, no, like danger necessarily. But primarily for erectile performance is what we use it for. And again, it's not just from bad to good, but also from good to great.
Yeah. Cool. And then how long do the results last? And it probably depends on lifestyle changes and what you.
Yeah, it depends. But generally, we say it's kind of like generally call it 12 to 18 months, and then maybe come back in for like 1 or 2 sessions to kind of just re-up and keep things cleaned up and stuff. But again, it depends on how much either damage there was previously, age, and everything else. So yeah, like everything in medicine, it depends.
Right. And then the testosterone treatments, how long are people on those for? Is there like, you can do it for so long and then try to wean off, or do people just sign up and love it so much they're going to do it forever?
Generally that.
Okay.
So generally, if you are starting treatment, it's because you're hypogonadal and because your body's not producing enough testosterone. And a lot of the guys that we have that come in have already tried. I mean, like for myself, like I was like reading the books and read like Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker and Breathe by James Nestor and Peter Attia and Andrew Huberman.
All the things.
Like getting good sleep, counting my macros.
I'm doing it.
And I'm like, I'm still just tired. I remember there was one July afternoon. It was like 75 degrees out, which doesn't happen in the summer. It's beautiful. And I'm just like sitting on the couch and I'm like, I don't want to do anything right now. And I was like, this is so weird. Like, why do I feel like this? Despite like
you're doing it all. You're not that old.
On paper,
right?
I'm like early to mid 30s and living like this healthy lifestyle, and then come to find out my testosterone level was like 267, and so then that's started me on this pathway.
And you have no idea why it was.
No, and so a few things I'll say to that.
And one thing I remembered, so my husband came in and he did these tests, and I don't remember what his levels were, but he was like decent and not like worried about anything. But like, why is it that like someone who's otherwise so healthy would randomly have low levels?
There's not any smoking gun. I'll say a few things. One, as men age, we produce 1% on average, 1% testosterone less each year. So your testosterone levels decline as you age. But also, since the 1980s, every like year cohort of men has had 1% lower per year.
Yeah.
So the average 30-year-old today has the same testosterone as the average 60-year-old did 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is still wild to me, but that's why we see men in their 20s and 30s.
Is younger.
Yes, from environmental factors, from sedentary lifestyle, from we all have phones radiating our self right next to our genitals. That probably doesn't help. Things like exposure to blue light, things like glyphosate and fertilizers and foods and lower nutritional densities. And so there's not any one smoking gun. You can go full crazy tin hat and be like, it's the 5G or the birds or drones or whatever you want to do. But in general,
I don't know.
Yeah, right. And so there's not any one smoking gun, but we do know that you wrap all that up together and that levels of testosterone, and then that does shape their lives and communities.
Yeah. Naturally boosting testosterone, right? Like weightlifting and having muscle mass increases like your body's endogenous testosterone. Is there anything else? And like,
I mean, sleep. So if you're getting poor sleep, generally your body produces most of its testosterone in the last like 1 to 2 hours of your sleep each night. And so making sure you're getting, 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. So it's hard for like shift workers or people that work in graveyard shifts of like it that like wrecks your hormones or exposure to chemicals. So like soldiers that are out in the field, like burning jet fuel to stay warm or whatever, like that's like terrible for you. But I mean, people do what you got to do. Heavy mechanic, heavy machinery workers, so those are things that can absolutely affect your testosterone levels. And being active, getting in, being 10,000 steps a day, and weight training absolutely help increase levels.
Are there correlations with vitamin D and being outside too? I feel like being outside is almost the magic bullet. If there was one, it's like that seems to help a lot.
Yes, that's my more fun, like not conspiracy theories, but of like contra theories of that, like sun is good for you. Like don't coat yourself in all kinds of chemicals and slather things on your body, of like be
Great.
smart and
Yes.
ease your way into it in the summertime. But that like the sun and being grounded, barefoot on the ground are both like, think about how good you feel at the beach where
Right.
you're grounded and you're in the sun all day. And so it's like, well, maybe there's something to that, and you should try to incorporate those practices. Again, it's hard in Alaska. I get it, of that it's dark a lot, and
right in the winter, you don't want to run around barefoot necessarily outside.
And you can't do like Huberman, like get 30 minutes of sunlight, you know, as soon as you wake up every day, because the sun doesn't rise for like 4 more hours or whatever. Like I get it. But that said, like you can still make sure you're sleeping well and being active, and the other things that we hadn't touched on besides sleep, diet, exercise are like, in my mind, underappreciated are community, and especially for men, having a mission. So making sure that you, like, no man is an island, right? And that you have people around you, whether it's a CrossFit gym, whether it's a running community, whether it's your church, whether you have a large local family, but having people around you, having those social connections is incredibly important.
And that is one of the things men tend to lose as they age, right? They don't keep friends as well, and they don't. So
that's incredibly important. And so we, again, talking before we started, of like trying to figure out how to use Gameday as a platform or a springboard to help build some community, and I haven't figured out what that looks like yet. But we'll see if you have any good ideas, ladies and gents out there, I'm all
shoot them Justin's way.
I'm all ears. And then mission. I think that having a mission outside of your family, or maybe it incorporates your family and other friends and stuff too, is very important for a man. And even if it's, whether it's short-term thing of like some kind of adventure or a hunt or whatever that you're going on with the boys, or whether it's broader, providing for family, building a business, building a community, whatever that is, that I don't know what the connection is. There's certainly I don't think there's any research necessarily around it, but that the lack of that will absolutely affect your like virility. And
I believe it. I mean, and do you counsel on all of this when people, come in for their treatments? You're giving them a counsel, a community, and mission. Justin will give them a pep talk and help walk them through all of this.
A little bit. I mean, so our guys, everyone that's on testosterone, so it's weekly or twice a week injections. And so the guys that aren't weekly oftentimes will come in and have our nurses do the injections for them.
Yeah.
Which we love.
Because they can do them at home otherwise. But
so we either like drop ship meds directly to your house. We'll dispense a vial from the clinic, or you can come in, same price, doesn't matter. And but we love having guys come in because it's fun. The first time they come in for their initial consult, their kind of shoulders are slumped and they're kind of grumpy or whatever, and then they come back in 4, 8, 12 weeks later, and like their chin's up, their shoulders are back, and there's just a different energy. I love seeing that. And then you see guys out in the community, and like I play softball against one of our patients, and so it's always like, his team's
getting better now. You're like,
he's a better pitcher than he used to be.
Okay.
You know who you are if you're listening to this. But so it's incredibly gratifying, satisfying to help men, and you get to see that, and you get those wins every day.
Very cool. And that wraps up the first part of my conversation with Justin Penny. We are going to continue next week with why women sneak into Gameday Men's Health. Actually, they are welcome there, but we're talking about peptide therapies. So we'll see you next time.